Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Remove Logic. This is Remove Logic, and I'm your host, Caryn Ray Lacy. And I want to thank you so much for joining me for another power packed episode of Remove Logic. Why remove logic? Because we believe that God is not bound by logic or logistics, and removing logic sometimes is the thing that we need to do, be, or become whatever it is that God has given us to do, be, or become. So, to the Remove Logic community, thank you so much for joining me once again. And if you're new here, thank you for joining us on the Remove Logic journey, where we jump in just to see what God is able to do. We do it afraid. We don't ask questions. We just go. If we got something from God, we move in it and move in it quickly. So thank you so much for joining me on Remove Logic. You can find Remove Logic on Facebook, on my personal page, Caryn Ray Lacy. And then also you can find Remove Logic on Facebook. We have a Remove Logic page. I also have a Remove Logic channel on YouTube. If you want to get to know me, find out what is this woman talking about, what is this Remove Logic, and just how do I think, you can catch up on some of our previously aired episodes on the YouTube channel, Remove Logic. We air on the Fishbowl Radio Network on Thursday nights at 7 p.m. and then also on the Lit TV Network on Friday nights, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, and then 7:30 Central Standard Time. So once again, thank you for joining Remove Logic. Now, if you are familiar with me, I love to have people on to share their story, to tell about what they did, how they had to overcome, what logic they had to remove out of their lives to do what God has given them to do, whether it is life, career, health, a pivot, whatever it is. Logic sometimes is that thing that keeps us bound. And I love when I meet someone that has that type of vibe, that they have overcome in spite of getting out of their own way to be whatever it is their assignment in life may be, or even just health challenges or career challenges, as I said. So tonight I'm excited about this episode. We are in the month of June, and we are celebrating Father's Day to come. And want to shout out to the men in the community as well. And happy Father's Day month to you. And I hope that someone somewhere is celebrating you. Tonight, I just want to start by asking you a question. How many decisions have you made in your life? Not because you wanted to, but because you didn't have options. Maybe you stayed somewhere too long. Maybe you said yes when you meant to say no. Maybe you built everyone else's dream while yours sat in a drawer, collecting dust. And at the root of all of that was money. Where oftentimes, wherever those decisions are, we are halted in our decision making when it comes to money. And there again, removing that logic. Not doing it because I don't have enough, not doing it because the money is not making sense right now, not having enough, not understanding, not believing it was for you. Today's guest is on a mission to change that permanently. This guest is on a mission to change this thought process permanently for women. She is the founder of the Unbridled Woman, a movement built on one radical belief. A woman who understands money is a woman who has options. Let me say that again. This radical belief is that a woman who understands money is a woman who has options. A woman with options is a woman who is free. Now, if you have been following me for any amount of time, you know that freedom is my mandatory maximum. As a matter of fact, I say I fight to stay free, even if I have to fight me. And when I met this person, I tell you, we just connected immediately. It was no contrive, no push, no pull, but just understanding. And through the Unbridled Wealth System, she is teaching women how to unlearn the lies, build their money foundation, invest with intention, and design a life that actually belongs to them. This is not a conversation about budgets tonight. This is a conversation about becoming the woman that is free. Becoming. So, welcome to EntrepreNEWHER, my new friend, new collab, Deanne Broggi. Hey, Deanne.
Hello. Hi, Caryn.
Hi. Thank you so much for joining me on Remove Logic. I was excited, as I said, about meeting you and just sitting and talking with you. I knew that you needed to be a part of the EntrepreNEWHER series. EntrepreNEWHER is something that just kind of fell in my spirit, and I have been running with it because there are so many women who have stories to share about starting a business, staying in business, and sharing the messy, the beautiful, and how you remained out here. So thank you so much for being a guest on Remove Logic. And I would love for you to introduce yourself to the Remove Logic community.
Yes. Yeah. Well, thank you for that beautiful introduction. And my name is Deanne Broggi, and I am the founder of the Unbridled Woman. That the name came to me many years ago when I was doing women's coaching, and I've just rebranded that into a more of a financial business opportunity for women. And because like you said, Caryn, when a woman understands money, she has choices. And long story, I mean, I came out of a 10 years ago, out of a 22-year marriage, just emotionally devastated, but also financially devastated as well, and really had to rebuild myself. I have 2 daughters, so I really wanted to be an example for them of resilience and someone who can, build a life after a traumatic event. So they're definitely my why, and it's that passion to go out and make sure that women don't get stuck in places just because they don't understand money, they don't have money. We need to have that education out there for women, and women going for their own businesses as well. That's the entrepreneurs. Like what does that look like in business and mentorship as well?
Yeah, and information is key in anything that you step out to do. If you don't have the information, you run into walls, of stagnation. And tonight, this episode is Unbridled. What happens when a woman finally learns how money works? And I'm excited to share your system as well as your story with women that, may find themselves in your shoes or find themselves in a place where there's a pivot and I need to make a change, but I don't know about money. I don't know how to make these decisions. And a lot of times that causes us to stay somewhere too long.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
in a waiting kind of state of mind. When you think about it, I say to, even like I said to myself, I fight to stay free, even if I have to fight me. And most often it is what we put ourselves in based upon the lack of information. So I want to ask you, you shared a little bit where it started. This is the origin of the Unbridled Woman. And you said that you were coming out of a divorce and you found yourself in a place where was money a scarcity, or was it just, I don't know what to do next with the money that I do have? What was that origin like?
Yes. So according to the financial lady that I worked with during divorce, she said that I was lucky through this divorce because my husband had made some good money. I was a stay-at-home mom.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't consider divorce lucky, but I guess I think I was set up, maybe a little bit better than some other women. But for me, it was how do I reinvent, how do I make a living myself? Like, what am I going to do? I had been a massage therapist for a long time, but it wasn't something I wanted to do that long full time. It wasn't something I could build wealth with. And, you know, if people have been through a divorce, it is financially devastating. And if I, you know, follow the trajectory of the when we went through mediation and when I got through the divorce, I was to run out of money in 10 years, and I'm at 10 years now. And that was really scary for me. And so the Unbridled Woman, after the divorce, I started doing some women's coaching. It was more my own healing. I felt, as I looked back at it, I was doing it for my own healing. The questions I was asking other women were things I needed to answer and work through myself. But when Unbridled came, is I know when horses are having a bridle around on their neck and face, they have to be they're led, and they have to follow the instructions of who's leading them. But when they're out in the pasture, they don't have that bridle on and they're free. And that energy was really something that I wanted to strive for, because I never wanted to be in a position where, you know, I don't have grandchildren yet, but, you know, I want to be able to go visit them. They're in another state, you know, right now my daughter's in another state. I didn't want to be that person who's like, oh, I can't because I don't have this money. I can't because I, you know, don't have money. I can't do this. I can't do that. That's not the future that I wanted for myself. I wanted to have that freedom of knowing how my money is going to work for me, so I don't have to work as hard to get it.
Yeah. And I'm glad that you went there, because that word unbridled, it's so intentional to choose that word. And I'm glad that you painted the picture that horses are usually bridled and led around with the bridle, but when they're out and they can roam free, they don't have that bridle on. Was it you yourself you were thinking about, or did you have a forward vision? Just, you know, I don't want my daughters to ever have to go through this. What was it that made you choose that word, unbridled?
I think it was more of it was more personal, but then again, it was more internal than it turned external.
Yeah.
I think for me it was I followed all the rules in life. I did what I was supposed to do, and then I ended up in a situation that I never dreamed that I would ever be in. And that's, I think, how that came up. Was like, I've been bridled all my life following these rules that other people told me. And now that I don't have that anymore, and it was very scary as well, because when you go from one extreme to the other, it's very discombobulating, and you can make a lot of mistakes in that situation.
It's interesting when you have freedom, and you're saying, okay, now I can roam free about the cabin, but you're kind of still stuck in that place. Like, where do I go? Like, what's next? And what do I do? I get it. You know, that you're not, yes, you're free, but what do I do with this liberty? What do I do with this freedom? How do I manage time, money, all the things that come into play after a divorce or after a life situation? You've been focused doing things one way, and all of a sudden you have this opportunity that, you know, whether good, bad, or indifferent, it's still an opportunity. It's still a moment in your life where you're going to have to make a decision to do something different. Now, you say no woman should have her choices limited by a lack of financial education. That hits different, because most of us were never taught, as you said. We were never taught this. So where does that gap start? Is it in family? Is it in school? Is it in culture? Have you really looked at it to see, okay, like where does this start, that we don't have that information?
I believe it comes from family. I look back at my family and my grandfather on my dad's side, and he had an entrepreneurial spirit. He worked for a company, but he basically built that company up for these people.
Right.
And at that time he had a good nest egg. However, a lot of it got lost in long-term care costs for my grandma. So even though he was a very successful man, he managed some money okay, he didn't know other aspects of it. And then, that it got further, passed down. I was taught with money was pay yourself first at every paycheck. But that was basically it. Put money into the bank, maybe get a CD, and have your 401k, and then you'll be good. And that's really not true. And I think schools. I went to school for finance, graduated with finance and economics degree. But what I do now with insurance, I never learned that in school. So I was just learning recently what the wealthy people do with insurance. And it just blew my mind. Like, I went to school for this and no one taught me. So people, regular people who didn't go to school for any finance don't even know anything about this. So I really think it comes from the family, the generational. And then when people start to make money, that's how the generations change, when the knowledge comes with that.
Right. Now there's a difference between financial information and financial transformation. What makes what you do different just from handing someone a budget and a worksheet? Because I know you're talking about transformation.
Absolutely. Yes. I mean, when I sit down with people, I mean, a budget is just to find out how much discretionary money they have left, so I really don't work with that. But I think for women, and I still struggle back and forth, is the mindset around money. Yeah. What's my belief system? I mean, I used to have a belief system that I thought people who had money, they didn't do good things. Like that, it was a bad thing to have money. Like it caused stress and problems. But money is power, and you could do so much good with it. I mean, if you're a good person, you're going to do good things with your money, right? So that's a mindset I had to shift. Or, as a massage therapist, when I was working, I'm like, well, how much do I charge? I'm like, well, I want it to be affordable. Like my self-worth wasn't there. So,
oh my goodness,
I think, the Unbridled Woman is encompassing, teaching women about how money works, different aspects of money, and also working with that mindset that you are worthy of being wealthy.
Yes. Yeah. And, again, this segment is the wound, because you carry around an idea that actually impacts you in a negative light. One of the things for me, even being on this platform, is learning how to monetize, learning how to know your value. When you said I was a massage therapist, I'm like, what do I charge and what do I do? But you have to have that perceived value. It has to start with you, that though I've studied, though I've taken the time, all of that creates a value in a wealth system. And it really does start within. And I love the fact that, we're talking about transformation. It's not just saying, okay, let me help you fix your money problem. It is a lot of times removing that logic, and it's psychological. It's generational, cultural. It has a lot to do. But women, I tell people all the time, we bear a lot. We're CEOs in life. Raising the children, you're managing a lot of things, but you just don't realize the value and your self-worth. And that first valuation has to start here. You're so right.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, a framework. You have a framework called Unbridled Wealth System. Walk us through that. And then I want you to do something like tell me which letter. I know you had a whole system that you gave me, and I didn't want to just put it out there, but I want you to be able to articulate it in a way you want. And whatever letter you want most in this system, I don't want to skip anything, but I want you to share it in Deanne's way.
Sure. All right. Do you want me to go with each letter means, or pick one that I want to?
Well, you can go with each letter means, and then we'll go from there. I have one that I want to talk about, but I want you to just go through the system for me.
Okay. So for the U is what we talked about with the mindset is unlearn the lies, unlearn the lies that we've been telling ourselves or what we've been taught. N is normalizing wealth, like realizing it's okay for me to have money. Money, it's actually a normal thing. Like God wants us to be abundant and have money.
Yes.
B is build your money foundation. Every wealthy person has a foundation of life insurance. That's how their house of money is built upon. So that's what we teach the women. R is rewrite your relationship with money. Again, mindset work. I is invest with intention. So many women like, oh, I haven't looked at my retirement fund in years. I don't know what it even looks like. Like, if energy flows where it goes. I mean, whatever that saying is. Like, if you don't pay attention to it, it's just going to get dusty and it's not going to grow. So you need to be intentional what you're doing. D is design your freedom life, as we're telling about what does that look like for women? And lead with money, lead your money. Don't be a servant to the money, right? Money is not, you're not a slave to money. Let money work for you. That's what, expand your wealth. Yeah, expand your in all aspects. Financially, in your happiness, in your joy, in your health. Like, wealth is just a word, but it could be applied to different aspects of your life, even emotional. And define your legacy. When we talked about where is that gap in this education, it's in the family. So what if you were the one in your family that changed everybody, the whole generation going forward? Like, you were the aunt that people look back like, oh, Aunt Caryn was the one that she was the first millionaire in our family, and she left this legacy for the rest of us to grow on upon and keep building it.
Yes.
So
wow, I love that. Now, is there a particular letter in your system that you have found that most women skip, and then why that costs them so much?
I think it is, reading through those again, I think defining legacy, and it's not so much having a statue of yourself that everybody has to know about you, right? But legacy within your family. What do you, because we're only here for a short period of time. Like, we're here to make an impact of some sort for the future generations. Like, I feel like that's our job. And being very intentional, what is that going to look like for my family? And if you don't have a family, there's tons of places where you can leave your money that will actually, help people, whether, it's homeless shelters or, animal shelters, or I don't know. There's so many ways that you can give back when you're not here anymore.
Yes, I love that. And defining your legacy, looking at it, we go through just doing, and I am guilty of it. Oh, this is just what I do. It's just what I do. But if you're not stopping to pay attention to what you're doing and defining that legacy, what do I want to leave? What impact do I want to make? When did you start to settle in a legacy mindset?
When I got my life insurance license, actually, when I really understood life insurance and how it is used, that's when I knew when I was able to get those products myself, I'm already starting to leave a legacy for my daughters and my future grandchildren. So that's really, that was the pivotal point. Because before that, I hadn't even thought about a legacy. I'm like, I'm a broke single mom. Like, what am I going to leave? But when I understood what life insurance could do, that's when the switch changed.
Wow. It all sounds very personal, which it is. It's an individual decision, but identity and money, they walk hand in hand. And you have to be able to look at yourself and how do I relate to money? And, life offers a lot of things. And most often it is traps. Mindsets that say, I'm not worthy, or I don't know how. And I love the fact that you said I was a broke single mom, and now look at where I am. Your identity shifted, not just with you, but your identity with you and money. And oftentimes we're going sometimes on scarcity and fumes.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yeah.
we don't stop to see ourselves in a wealthy place, where I'm attached to money. It's usually money's over here and it's something I'm trying to get. But my identity is saying that, look, I deserve, prosperity is mine. It's available. I can do it. So when you think about that type of mindset and how you had to walk through that to say, I was a broke single mom, and to look at yourself now, identity, what shifted in you, in your identity, that you can say, I was this, now I'm this.
Vision. Vision.
Love it. Yeah.
I was where I am in my company. I see the possibility. I'm surrounded now more with people who have big visions.
Wow.
And it gives me fire to my vision, because I'm like, if they can do it, why not me? Why not? So it's the vision of possibility, and that my dreams will actually come true. Was a huge shift. It was a shift in confidence, in just self-respect as well, because of that vision. In my head, I I'm becoming that woman that, I see her. I'm already there. It's just, time just needs to catch up a little bit.
Yeah. Yes. I love that.
But it's vision. Like, if you can't see your future, then there's a saying that it's escaping me. Maybe it'll come. But it's in related to that. Like, if you don't have a vision, then you kind of just die where you are.
Yeah. Without a vision, the people perish.
That's it. Yes. That's what I was thinking.
Without a vision, the people will perish. And it's true. You have to. And I love the fact that you said, I see myself there. It's like time has got to catch up with what I'm seeing. And vision is so important. If you don't see, again, it's that perceived value. I deserve this. I can do this. I can accomplish this. And it is this rewiring of your mind, changing the way that you see yourself. And then the other thing that you said about being in the room with people with vision, that if they can do it, you can do it, and putting yourself in those spaces. One of the things that I have, just kind of been hit with here lately, is that the rooms that I'm in, I belong there, but I have to honor those rooms. I have to make sure that I come in fully invested. Fully expecting something from that room. And then also I want to give, just because I don't have what they have already doesn't mean that I don't have something to offer.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I love that you are around women with vision. And we need that. We definitely do, because it's that changing your mind, rewiring your thought. My identity has to shift. I'm not, as you said, the broke single mom. I am someone with value, and I know that I can share this with somebody else. I love that. So you're talking about women making decisions from a place of freedom rather than fear. Can you describe what a fear-based financial decision looks like versus one with freedom?
Yes. Fear. When you have fear about money, there's there's that I can't do this. I can't afford that. If I spend this, then I won't be able to, do something else. There's a doubt. I really this came to me a couple days ago that it made so much sense to me, is that, when we have fear, we're far away from God. Like, when we are in relation and good relation and grace with God, there's no fear, there's trust. And we only have that fear is because there's those thoughts that are coming in. Those aren't God's thoughts in our heads, and so we have to, like, all right, okay, that's a fear, but it's not the truth. That's not who God made me to be. That's not his message to me.
Yes.
What is God telling me? And just, connect to that. I'm not sure if that answered the question, but that was really felt like that had to be said.
Yeah, it does. Now, you personally, is there something that you had to unlearn in being unbridled to get to this unbridled place? What did you personally have to unlearn about money or a belief in it?
The belief, I think I said this before, was the belief that, money is evil.
Wow.
That there's only bad things come when people have money. That it's better to be pious and broke, and that that's not true, because the shift really came to me when I got into those rooms with people with vision, because I saw people with money do, like, having schools in Haiti where they're teaching girls, bringing clean water to places, solar to other places. Like, wow, like that's money being used in a good way. Of course, sometimes people don't use it in a nice way, in a good way. But I think the majority of is, like I said, if you're a good person, you're going to do good things with it.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
So I
love that. Yeah, because I think that culture, that's not cultural. I think it's more a religious mindset, that you have to live poor to look close to God. And so, I'm Black, you're white, but we culturally, that's not a barrier. That's the whole mindset. And I really believe that is a religious mindset. Like, come on, because we were raised to think the same thing, that, money is evil. Like, no, it's not. And it's how you use money. It's how you use it. Now, let's get to this movement that you're in. I know you have a movement that you want to reach 5,000 women. Am I right? To help 5,000 women. And hey, I hope Remove Logic is a springboard for that. That's not unrealistic. That is something that, one room of 2,000 could put you, 2,000, 2,500 put you at your halfway mark.
Exactly.
So I'm a visionary, I see way out there too. So it is not unreasonable, Deanne, that you can do this. So you created a full ecosystem: education, community, mentorship, entrepreneurship. What came first, and how did you know this needed to be something more? How are you pushing this forward?
Yes. So I can only talk to so many people as one person, right? So just like companies need a team of people to make the company work, to get the message out, that's what I'm calling in, is, a team of women who feel very passionate about, just the same vision, similar vision that I have, right? That women need to get this information, they need to know about it, and they will thrive when they get to it. So the more people, the more women on the team, the more women in the army, let's say, we're going to be, winning the war against, financial illiteracy and women being stuck into situations where they don't have the choice to leave or to make the changes that they need to make for themselves. And this encompasses all cultures, all races. And so that's what came before. Well, I mean, I saw that the industry that I'm in is one of the biggest industries where women are millionaires in. So I'm like, well, why not spread that out into teaching women how to have, a business and mentor them through that. So.
Wow, I love that. Now, strengthening women in their own financial future. Some join to build a business, and then others join to learn the information. How do you hold both of these women at once? How do you do that with your system?
Well, there's for the entrepreneurs, there's systems in place for that. So every good business has systems to go through. So a lot of it's duplicatable. So once it's taught, it's able to be learned again, right? So it's not something that I need to be consistently there for. And as they move up, they don't need to do that as well. So there's different, I can spread my energy in different directions because I don't need to be in one place because there's systems that will take care of that.
Okay. And now how do people get in touch with Deanne?
Yes. So I am on Instagram, Deanne Broggi. I'm also on Facebook, and my website is deannerose.net. Rose used to be my maiden name. My married name. I went back to my maiden name, which is Broggi.
Okay. Now that's how we met, guys, on Facebook. Mm-hmm. She had a post and it was about engaging and collaborating with other women. So I want to encourage you, women out there, find her on Facebook and just connect. We connected one day, one night, and then we were scheduling a meeting.
Yeah, it was just a couple hours of coffee, a tea.
And
chai vanilla.
Right. And it just turned into what you're looking at now. So I want to encourage you, if you are a woman that is looking to make some changes, not just with your money, but just your thought processes, and get rid of what we call that stinking thinking, and know that those are just lies. Wealth it's in your pathway. I want to encourage you to connect with Deanne. Now, I'm not finished, but I wanted to just take this commercial break to give you a moment to let them know where they can find you, because I really believe in what you're doing and helping women to become free. Wealth is freedom. It is.
It is.
And now, a hard truth, what nobody's saying. Let me ask you something bold. Why do you think so many programs aimed at a woman or women's empowerment skip the money conversation? Why do you think that's?
Well, it could be whoever is leading that group or that course has their own issues with money and doesn't know what to do with it.
Wow.
And, I don't want to say it's intentional, but I think it should be. I just think that they don't think maybe it's important for women to know about this. Yeah. I guess I don't know. That's a really hard question to answer, as not knowing who those people are. But I know, as being a coach, I tended not to go to the subjects that either triggered me or because I didn't want to have that, I wanted to be present with that person. So perhaps these people doing that, they also need to work through their own mindset as well. But there's lots of women out there, a lot of women leaders who are really going out there and, making sure women know about, money and how it works.
And I think it's good that we can connect with each other and have these conversations. Oftentimes, being a single mom, it's kind of like, oh, that's secluded. I don't want to talk about it, or I don't want to tell you where I really am, really needing help, but afraid to have that conversation. And one of the things that I tell people all the time, I'm not afraid of the hard conversations. And some of those hard conversations are necessary conversations to get you moving or to get you from being stuck. I truly believe that if you don't confront it, you won't conquer it. If you don't talk
Very
about
true.
it,
Yes. Yes.
if you don't talk about it, it's just gonna sit over there in the corner and wait till you
Yeah.
ready to have this conversation. And money is a hard thing sometimes for women to talk about. It's private.
It's not socially acceptable. The funny thing is that people with money talk about money all the time because they talk amongst each other like, oh, what do you do with your money, or where'd you get, like, so they're always commiserating on how to actually grow money. And, the rest of us, we don't talk about it because we don't have any, or we're ashamed, or there's guilt. And
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's a very distinct difference too, that people with money talk about money. And those of us that need to be talking about it,
no,
we're not talking about it. So if a woman is listening right now and she's thinking, this is for someone else, because that's that hard conversation. This is not for me. What would you say to her just to unbridle her or unlearn something?
I would just offer, well, let's talk about it. Let's talk about why that feeling's coming up, because there's something there, and just open for just a conversation.
I love that. One of the things I can say about you are not intimidated, ma'am. But it takes someone with a tenacity to know, this is what I overcame, and this is what I want to see someone else be freed from. I think the scripture says that we are overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. So if I can tell you, hey, I did it this way, come and talk to me. This is what I did. And that's what I see in you. If someone hears this and is ready to start, where do they go? Do they meet you on Facebook, or what's the first step for someone?
Yeah, absolutely. Instagram would be a direct message, and you can reach out that way, as well as Facebook, and do Messenger. I think that's probably the best way. Yeah.
Okay. Well, guys, you heard it here, and I'm saying this to you, ladies. Get ready to have those hard conversations. I was telling Deanne, I'll be 62. And I don't mind saying it. I'm very proud of it, because there's a lot of life lessons getting to 62. Yes. But there are a lot of women that are in that place of getting ready to retire. How do I, and it doesn't have to be just the single mom, but you're ready to retire. You're looking at maybe the retirement fund, and it's not looking like what you think, maybe again, like Deanne said, 10 years from now, what am I going to be doing? Am I going to be eating beans? Am I going to be putting myself in a position for better? So I want to say to you ladies, this is EntrepreNEWHER, and that's what this is all about, where we talk about those hard conversations. We get in there and we mine out the things that are necessary for us to make it. How did she start? Give us her messy, her beautiful, and how she's remaining out here. And I really believe that this is going to be an episode that will impact and carry some weight with the women in the Remove Logic community. You heard it. You want to meet with Deanne? You can find her on Facebook. And you can also reach out to me. I have all of her contact information. I would love to pass you along where you can get that information and start that financial unbridled journey. We call this EntrepreNEWHER because we believe every woman carries something I don't care if it's old. I don't care if it's new. I know that you're carrying something that the world needs. And this is why I invited Deanne here tonight, because what she's carrying, I believe that it is something that the world needs, the women need. So I want you to take the time, share this with a woman. If you know that she is on the journey for retirement or has had a shift or something that has happened in her life, where she's needing to get those finances together and have that hard conversation, please share this episode with that woman or even a man. I want to say that. So
Yeah.
we're not shutting the men out. We don't do that on Remove Logic. But I'm so grateful that you came. Deanne, last words. I'm going to give it to you for whatever you want to share regarding EntrepreNEWHER and what you want to do in this space.
I would just like to encourage, the men and women out there to not get in that comfortable crawl of life where you're always in your comfort zone. I mean, life happens outside the comfort zone. Life happens. We shared this, Caryn, before. You just said, do it scared, or do
it afraid.
Do it afraid, right? Just again, remove the logic behind it and just do it. If you're feeling that heart call, that gut call, that's God's message to just go and do it and not think about it. Get out of the comfort zone. Life is worth living when you have a vision for yourself and for your family.
Yes, I love that. Life is worth living. You just said with the unbridled version of Remove Logic, and this is what is possible. Deanne didn't just build a financial education platform. She built a permission structure. She built something that you can give yourself permission to, for women and for men, where whoever told you you couldn't, she's built something that says, I give myself permission to have wealth directly or indirectly. That wealth, it is your portion. It's your portion. So I want to encourage you again, share this with someone that needs to hear and know the Unbridled Wealth System. It isn't about becoming someone you're not. It's about becoming everything you already are without limits. Without limits. So take off the limits. And again, my name is Caryn Ray Lacy, and this is Remove Logic. Wealth, worth, legacy, freedom. These are not buzzwords, ladies. These are your birthright. And if today's episode cracks something open in you, don't let it close. Find Deanne on Facebook or Instagram, and you can find me, and I'll definitely pass you on. Find the Unbridled Woman community. If you're not already in the EntrepreNEWHER family, this is your sign to connect with us both. Thank you so much, Deanne, for coming on Remove Logic. I totally appreciate it. Again, I'm Caryn Ray Lacy, and this is what Unbridled looks like. That lady right there.